Hello, welcome to Roussel Reads. I'm Deja, and today we are going to do an unhaul video. In my May reset, I took a lot of books off of my shelves with the intention of unhauling them. And so today I am going to go through all of the books that I pulled off of the shelves and I guess give a reason for why I am unhauling them. I haven't counted how many books I have that I pulled off of my shelves, but pretty sure all of these are going to leave my house pretty soon. So let's go ahead and get started. The first book is Girl Code by somebody, Cara, Leba or something. Honestly, this book, and I guess I will also go into the next one, which is Girlboss. I feel like both of these books were just part of an era of basically white women becoming girl bosses, and I just am not in that era anymore. And to be frank, I don't think I really got anything out of these books either. So I'm definitely going to donate them and maybe somebody else will get something out of them. The next book that I have is Black No More by George S. Schuyler. This one I just have a duplicate, so I'm not going to keep a copy of a book that I already have. The other one is also a duplicate, and this is Their Eyes Were Watching God. Again, not going to keep a copy of a book that I already have. So, this next category is just books that are classics that I thought I would have every intention of reading, but for whatever reason, I don't anymore. So, the first one is Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens. I don't know why I thought I would be interested in this. There's like really nothing about this story that calls to me, so I'm going to unhaul this. And then I have The Beautiful and the Damned by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I thought that since I like The Great Gatsby, I would be interested in picking this one up as well, but frankly, I'm not really that interested in it. If I do find myself interested in wanting to pick it up one day, I can honestly just get this from my library because it is a classic. Speaking of The Great Gatsby, I have The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Again, this is one that if I wanted to reread it, I could just get it from the library. I do not need to have a copy on my shelves. And I did like the story when I read it, but that was in high school, and I am a completely different reader now, and I don't see myself rereading this. I feel like what I got from the story the first time that I read it was enough. Like, I don't think I need to have this on my shelves to reread it. And the last classic that I have that I'm going to actually take off of my shelves is Les Miserables. I This book is thick. I don't want to read this. Like, I think I'll be okay if I watch like the musical or something. I feel like this is another one that like it could be intriguing for me to read because I'm pretty sure it takes place during a revolution in Paris, and so I could read this, but again, I could just get this from the library. And now we're just going to go to the books that I just am no longer interested in. The first one is Your Destination is to the Left by Lauren Spieler. This is actually one that I got in college when I met the author. She was a literary agent and we were encouraged to like go talk to her. And I bought the book, one, to support the author, but also because I was like, oh, this could be like just a cool YA contemporary story. And I haven't read it, but I really do not read many white contemporary stories anymore. So I'm going to unhaul this. The next two are just two white historical romances. The first one is If I Only Had a Duke by Lenora. I heard good things from a particular booktuber about this one, but I'm just not really interested in reading Regency romances, particularly when they're not really diverse. So I'm going to unhaul this. The next historical romance that I was potentially thinking that I could read was The Devil and the Heiress. And this one I did actually start and I did like what I was reading. It is not Regency, it is following an American heiress. And so it could be interesting. But again, if I did want to pick this up, I could get it from the library, and I don't really want it on my shelves. And so now we will move to the fantasy section, which has the most books out of all of these sections because I am a fantasy reader. So the first ones that I will get rid of on my shelves are the Game of Thrones series. I'm not going to hold up all four books that I have, but they're all mass market paperbacks, and it's just the first four books. I did start reading this earlier this year, and I was not hating it. I do have like a love-hate relationship with Game of Thrones in terms of like the TV show and in terms of the books. But as I was reading this book, I was like, a lot of the same things that happen in the show were happening in this book. And I know there's going to be like some key differences, like things that don't happen and things, but I'm like, the overall story, like, I know what's going to happen. And I was thinking that, like, I don't necessarily love this world enough to read everything again. If I really wanted to get into the Game of Thrones series again, I could literally just watch the show as much as I love and hate it. I know there's more in the series, and I did not hate what I was reading. But again, since I already know what happens, like, it was just not really calling for me to read the rest of it. And I was thinking that maybe I should read this entire series before the last book comes out. But honestly, I don't think the last book is coming out. So I don't see the need to read this. And again, if I wanted to read this entire series, I could just get this from the library. I do not need to have a copy. So that is four books off of my shelves right there. The next book is another book that I have read, and that is 25Z Time and Salvation. So I made it around 200 or so pages into this book, and I really liked the beginning, but it started to get too action packed for me, which isn't a bad thing. I think that this is just an action packed story, but I'm very much character driven. And at some point, the main character, Alistair, just really started to annoy me. He is a teenager basically, and I just found his perspective the least interesting, especially because he didn't really know anything. And so if you want action packed superheroes, I would recommend picking this up. But again, that's not really like my thing. I used to be like an action packed, plot driven reader. And so if I would have read this when I first got it, I probably would have liked this. But I no longer am the target audience for this book. The next two books are part of the same series, and that is Truth Witch and Wind Witch by Susan Dennard. So, Truth Witch, I did try a chapter when I tried a chapter a few years ago, and I did not hate what I was reading. I was actually intrigued to continue the story. But then I continued in July of last year, but as I continued in this, I was just not interested. I didn't really like the writing in this series, and that's like the main reason why I couldn't really get into it. Otherwise, I thought that the magic system was cool, and of course, it has like a sister relationship that I just love seeing in fantasy books. But yeah, it was really the writing that I just really couldn't get into. So I'm going to unhaul Truth Witch and Wind Witch. The next book that I have is Heart of Thorns. I think this is a YA romantasy, and frankly, I'm just no longer interested in it, partly because it's YA, and partly because the story just doesn't really sound interesting to me. With all of the romantasy that we've been getting these days, I'm being more particular, and I don't think that there's probably anything wrong with this book, but yeah, I'm just not interested anymore. And the last book that I have that I will be unhauling is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. This is one that I saw on Angela from Literature Science Alliance's channel, and the way that she described this as basically, to not quote her directly, but basically a white male mediocre author being held up in science fiction, I lost interest. And this is also a very action packed thriller ish kind of sci fi, and I don't think that I will like this. Like I said before, like, I'm not really into like very action packed kind of stories, so I will be unhauling this. That will wrap up all of the books that I'm pretty much going to unhaul at this time. I think that this has been a long time coming. I've had a few of these on my TBR for the longest of times, and I've just never been called to pick them up. And I've been one to say that I want to at least try some of these books before I unhaul them, just in case like I really love them. But I don't foresee myself really loving any of these books, and the ones that I have read, like, I feel good on hauling them. Hopefully, sometime soon, these will be able to leave my house, but for now, they're just going to sit in a box until I can get rid of them. But that will wrap up this video. I really hope that you have enjoyed it. I'm very interested to know, how often do you unhaul books, and if you have any kind of like rules or just guidelines that you have for yourself when you do unhaul books. But if you don't want to do that, you can just leave some kind of like cleaning emoji. I don't know if they actually have those. But if there's not any like cleaning emojis, I guess I'll just leave whatever emoji you can leave on the screen. But again, I thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!